I've been scammed. In January of this year, I paid a guy online $2,000 for 2 custom gaming PCs, and I never received either one. On top of that, because of an arrangement he talked me into, which I will get more in depth later in this video, I also got stuck owing PayPal over $2,200 for chargebacks from his other customers, money that was never mine in the first place. Altogether, my total financial loss is $4,177.65. I'll be calling this person Jake, as this is what he went by online, even though this is not his real name. Jake runs a business called Gagain PCs, which is now known online as Stealth PCs today, and he's also gone by the handle driy at one point. Everything I'm about to talk about is backed by screenshots, which include iMessage logs, Apple Pay transaction confirmations, PayPal disputes and refunds, and Discord logs, all dated and timestamped. I filed a police report, an FTC complaint, and filed a complaint with the FBI's Crime Complaint Center. I also checked the business registries in Virginia, a state he's claimed to live in, and South Carolina, which I know for a fact he's actually based in because I have his IP address, and one of his customers that got sent an empty box confirmed it too. There's no registered business under Gagain PCs, Stealth PCs, or his name in either state. I first talked to Jake back in August of 2025. He introduced himself as Jake Gagain, the owner of Gagain PCs. He had a normal looking online presence, a website, a YouTube channel, and a TikTok page. We talked on and off for a while before any money was involved. In early January, Jake offered me a deal. I'd get a white PC for myself at $700, discounted because I was going to feature his business in a video I'm making about rebuilding my dream gaming/studio room, which is still in progress by the time of recording this video. He'd also build a black PC for my brother at $1,275, with both PCs promised before January 20th, so that my brother would have it in time of his birthday. Around that same time, Jake had told me that his own PayPal account has been removed and asked if his customers could send their payments through my PayPal instead. He assured me multiple times that there would be no risk to my account. He even offered me a cut of every single sale. I agreed. What I didn't know at the time was that while this was all happening, on January 5th, before I had sent any money to Jake told another customer who goes online as Eddie YT that he'd looked into shipping 2 of Eddie's PCs and the cost was going to come out over $800, which included import costs, taxes, and insurance, none of which the original shipping estimate had accounted for. In that same message, Jake said he was planning to close down the business and sell off parts to cover what he owed Eddie. Jake never told me any of that information and decided to go forward with receiving my payments. Between January 10th through January 19th, I sent Jake 7 different payments through Apple Pay, totaling $4,098. One of those, the $1,275 black PC, didn't go through cleanly. I tried sending it in a few chunks, and at one point Apple Pay actually declined my payment and told me word for word that it had been identified as a possible scam. A second attempt got declined too, saying a previous transaction was under review. I ended up breaking that transaction into smaller pieces, $150, then $50, then $50, then another $50, and so on and so forth, until the full amount finally went through. I told Jake in the chat, word for word, okay, there's all the money, $1,275, and he confirmed that he got it. A few days into all of this, I started receiving more customer payments through my PayPal account, which I then sent over to Jake via Apple Pay. PayPal then sent me a notification to my email saying that I had made over $2,000 in sales that month on PayPal, and that they were putting a hold on my funds until the following month. Jake told me that because of that hold, he could not ship me my PCs, since other customers needed their PCs and I couldn't send Jake their money. Then Jake pressured me into sending him an extra $500 out of my own pocket, on top of that, telling me that if I covered it, both of my PCs would be shipped the same day. I didn't have $500 sitting in my account, since all of my funds were tied in my PayPal. So I took $500 in cash from my drawer, biked about 30 minutes to an ATM, deposited it, and transferred it to his Apple Pay. The whole thing took close to an hour and a half. After I sent it, he went completely silent for hours. I started messaging him, questioning where he was, why he wasn't responding, and if my PCs were going to be shipped out that same day. Jake finally messaged me 5 hours later, saying that he was drunk with his friends and forgot to ship anything. The next day, he told me that he did not have any money to be able to ship out my PCs at all. 5 different people's payments went through my PayPal account, and every single one of them ended up being disputed and refunded back to the customers because nothing ever showed up at their doorstep even after I sent $500 to ship out their PCs. One of those customers, known online on Discord as Xerox, did get something, an empty box. He told me directly it was an empty box. Crazy scam you have going on. PayPal processed refunds for those customers between February and March. And since the payments had gone through my account, the negative balance landed on me. PayPal permanently limited my account and left me with a negative balance of $2,202.65. Money that went towards people's refunds for a business that wasn't mine because I'd agreed to let it run through my PayPal account with no risk. On top of that, the money that I had sent Jake through Apple Pay from those customers is just completely gone. There's one more person that I want to mention specifically. A friend of mine and editor who goes by Chills wanted a PC too, and I introduced him to Jake. He sent a $100 deposit to my PayPal account, which I then forwarded to Jake via Apple Pay. When Chills saw what was happening to me and the other customers, he asked Jake for that deposit back. Jake told him it was non-refundable and that he had already told people that his PC was sold. Chills never got that money back, and I've been apologizing to him for putting him in that position. At the time, I had no idea what Jake was actually doing. Around January 21st, I filed a police report. Right around the same time, I discovered that Jake had changed his entire Discord profile to look like mine, with my name and my profile picture. Chills caught it in real time while I was on the phone with the police and messaged me, he changed it to your PFP. Report him now for sure. And at one point, you can see here, his Discord name was literally Scammer Gagain. I also went back through our old chats and found out that he deleted roughly a year of messages. He'd also posted my home address, my phone number, my email, and my full name in our DMs more than once, which is part of the reason why I went to the police in the first place, not just for the money. On top of that, Jake changed his entire TikTok account to look like mine as well. He used my logo, wrote Glide Lab in his bio, which is my mousepad company, and changed his profile picture to look like mine as well. His account had 4,000 followers at the time as well. On January 22nd, after a lot of back and forth, Jake and I reached an actual agreement. In writing over Discord, he agreed to refund me $3,200 through Apple Pay with a deadline of June 1st and confirmed that date more than once. I also had asked him in that same conversation to refund me $619 to refund a customer of his who had been affected. He said no. Almost immediately after that, he started trying to get out of the $3,200 agreement. He said he could only pay in crypto, specifically Ethereum or USDT, claiming that he could not use Apple Pay because his exchanger took a 25% cut and that he couldn't also use it because of privacy concerns around his SSN. I told him clearly more than once that I cannot open a crypto exchange account and that platforms that actually verify identity require documents that I do not have, and that Apple Pay was the only payment method that I could actually use. He acknowledged all of that and kept pushing crypto anyways. At one point suggesting crypto wallets like Uniswap, Phantom, or Exodus that don't require an ID at all. And at another point suggesting that I get a parent to open a crypto account for me to use. On January 26th, he had sent me a message that he had not been fully honest with me and had been overly aggressive. And in that same message still kept insisting on using crypto. By January 27th, he told me that Apple Pay was no longer an option and that I could either take crypto or get cash mailed to me in small amounts. Apple Pay doesn't even charge fees on either end, so the reasoning he gave for avoiding it didn't hold up to begin with. In February, in a group chat with one of my online friends, Jake admitted that he didn't have any money and that he was trying to get it, but didn't offer any actual plan. Then things went quiet for a few months. On May 2nd, Jake and I went back and forth about a shipping label, and he offered to ship me out the PCs if I paid for it. I asked him what his address was for the send address on the label. Jake sent me what he claimed to be was his business address, a PO box at a UPS store in Arlington, Virginia. I told him a UPS store box is a commercial address, not anywhere where a person actually lives, and that I knew he was actually based in North Charleston, and that if he wanted me to send him anything, he needed to give me his actual address or I'd move forward with the legal process. A few days later, I emailed that UPS store explaining that I was preparing a small claims court case and I needed the box holder's name and address for service of process, citing the federal requirement that mailbox providers keep that information on file for that exact purpose. They told me that they could not release the box holder's information and and that a request like that needed to go through formal legal channels. Then a couple days after that, they followed up on their own and told me something else. They didn't actually have a mailbox with that number that he gave me, and that the customer named Gagain PCs or Stealth PCs was not in their registry. So the PO box that he gave me just did not exist at all. On May 3rd, Jake messaged the group chat with, "So what you gonna do?" I ignored his message. 2 days later, on May 5th, he messaged saying that he'd give me until June 1st to get the shipping worked out before he listed those PCs for sale, and that if I ignored him again, I shouldn't come back complaining afterwards. This was months after he had already agreed to pay me $3,200, in which he was now using that same date to threaten to sell my gaming PCs that I had paid in full for, under terms that were never part of the original deal. 2 days after that, on May 7th, he left the group chat entirely. He DM'd me on May 29th saying, "I guess we're just forgetting about all of this, but if you change your mind on getting the PCs shipped by the end of the month, then let me know." When I told him that I needed to get my payment back and that nothing in his policy said that I couldn't get a refund, he said his policy did not allow cancellations and that the only options were to either get the PCs shipped to me or forget about it. By saying that, he was confirming that he still had the PCs, and then when I pushed for a refund again, he tried out a brand new condition that I was refusing to pay for shipping and therefore forfeiting everything. And this would apply regardless of what I would say if I didn't pay by June 1st. When I told him that I was going to post publicly about this, he said any harm done to my rep will be dealt with via a defamation lawsuit. I then told him that I had a large folder full of evidence from a lot of people. His response was just okay. Then on June 11th, he messaged me again. He said he'd forgotten it was past the first of the month and that this was my last chance to arrange shipping or forfeit everything, with a deadline of the next day. I told him that even if I still wanted those PCs, he told me that he'd swapped a lot of parts and that I just still wanted my money back. I also told him that I had already posted a video and I planned to make more, including this one. He repeated the defamation threat and said that he knew where I lived. I told him to go ahead and sue, since I had documented the entire case and received statements from his other customers saying that they have not received anything and shared their experiences with Jake. He declared the money forfeited. I asked, again politely, for a refund. Not an apology, just a repayment for PCs that were never delivered to me, and pointed out that on top of everything that I already paid, he was now asking me to cover an extra $500 in shipping. He said a refund was completely off the table and that I was entitled to nothing unless I paid for the shipping myself or provided a prepaid label. I had reminded him that he had already swapped out parts and that I wasn't sending more money. He refused to send me his address, calling me a kid like you, while still maintaining that the PCs would ship with the agreed components if I covered shipping. I told him that he was hiding behind a fake address just to avoid a refund, and that the refund demand or the videos would continue. He declared the money forfeited again, and said that the PCs would now be available to purchase by anyone, hardware that I had paid in full for months ago. I asked him to confirm in writing that he was refusing to deliver something that I had paid for and planned to resell it, and told him that I had screenshots of his earlier written confirmation that I'd paid it in full, which contradicted his shipping excuse. He then sent back a long message saying that he wasn't responsible for shipping without sufficient payment, telling me to buy a UPS label by myself and then send it to him, and repeating that everything that I had paid for would be forfeited the next day, regardless of what excuse I come up with. That message came with a picture of Donald Trump captioned, "Thank you." I told him that I did not accept those terms and asked again for my money back. His response was, "Shut the f up." $700 for a PC that never showed up, $1,275 for a PC for my brother that never showed up, and $2,202.65 in chargebacks from other people that got dumped onto my PayPal account. So $4,177.65 in total. None of it returned. A few things I'd want anyone watching this to take away is that if a seller asks to run payments through your account, don't agree to it, no matter how it is framed. That is the reason why I personally now owe PayPal over $2,000 for orders that weren't even mine. Also, if your bank or payment app flags a transaction as likely a scam, don't just find a workaround. And if someone agrees to terms in writing and then immediately starts trying to change the payment, the deadline, or the conditions, that's worth paying attention to on its own. I've got police, FTC, and IC3 cases open, and if you've ordered from Gagain PCs, Stealth PCs, or come across the handle driy, and you're missing money or the product, you're not the only one. And it's worth looking into filing your own report too. I'll put his websites and social accounts in the description, along with his known emails, in case any of this applies to you. If something similar happened to you, let me know in the comments. Also, if you want to help support my mousepad business, this is Glide Lab. I sell high quality gaming mousepads for anyone that's trying to elevate their setup or make their space look nicer and have a comfortable workspace where you have precision and speed. This is not supposed to be an ad, but any sale helps and it will help me recover from this financial loss. Anyways, thanks for watching and stay safe out there. And more importantly, stay away from stealth PCs and warn anyone else you see looking into him. Peace.